MC today. Before we get started, we would like to thank the co-organizers for making today's forum possible. 各位朋友，大家下午好，欢迎大家来到尔湾华人问政会，我是今天的主持人潘琪儿。在开始之前，我想先感谢一下合办社团，他们是南海岸中华文化中心 South Coast Chinese Cultural Center 尔湾中文学校 Irvine Chinese School 金城公益基金会 The Orange Club Foundation 城县华人协会 Chinese American Association of Orange County 城县华人商会 Orange County Chinese American Chamber of Commerce 城县华人商会基金会 Orange County Chinese American Chamber of Commerce Foundation 城县华人联合会 American Orange County Chinese Federation 城县好姐妹 Orange County Ladies Group Chinese Ladies Group 亚美华人服务中心 Asian American Senior Citizens Service Center 尔湾华人松柏会 Irvine Evergreen Chinese Senior Association 城县矫生中心 Orange County Herald Center 国际扶轮社城县分会 Rotary Club of Orange County Digital 飞达教育基金会 Ivy Max Foundation 谢谢。那么我们今天呢也很感谢各大合办社团的代表也来到线上请听到自己的名字的代表呢跟我们在线上挥手致意好吗？好，请稍等。OK， 好，他们是南海岸中华文化协会的理事长 Mike Chan， 金城公益基金会会长 Dennis Song， 城县华人协会以及华人家长会代表 Sarah Yang， 城县华人商会会长 Danny Chen， 跟副会长 Margaret Liu。城县好姐妹代表安兰，雅美老人中心 Tim Chan， 尔湾华人松柏会 Jerry Chan 以及安胡，城县矫生中心义工主任 Shea 黄，国际扶轮会城县分会会长 Mark Aaron。Ivy Max Foundation 和飞达教育联合创办人 Vicky 张。Okay, thank you all so very much. 再次感谢合办社团的所有付出。Okay, in this forum, each candidate will have 2 minutes to introduce him or herself, 60 seconds to answer questions which are pre-selected by the participants.And 2 minutes for him or herself to do the closing statement. We will hear a 30 seconds warning like this, and a 10 seconds warning like this. And when your time is up, we will hear this. Okay, so at this time, if you're not a candidate for the Mayor Candidate Forum, please turn off your camera and remain muted for the entirety of the forum. If you have any questions, please feel free to type it in the chat room. And if we do have time at the end, we will ask the candidates to address them. 今天的问政会呢，会分为3部分。首先，各位候选人会有2分钟的时间介绍自己，之后他们各会有1分钟回答我们从您的报名表中收集的问题，最后他们会做2分钟的总结陈述。我们会在倒数30秒、10秒以及时间到的时候响铃。现在，如果您不是候选人，请把您的视频关掉，并且保持静音。如果您有任何的问题呢，可以写在 Zoom 的聊天室里。如果到最后的时候，我们有时间，我们会请候选人作答。Okay, so now please allow me to introduce the candidates for the office of Irvine Mayor. The order of the introduction is based on the order of how they're received by the Orange County Register of Voters. 首先，让我们介绍一下今天尔湾市长候选人。如果您不是候选人，现在可以把摄像头关掉了，谢谢。If you're not a candidate, you can now turn off your camera. Thank you. Again, if you're not a candidate, you can now turn off your camera. 如果您不是市长的候选人，现在可以把视频关掉了。也许我们的同事也可以帮助他们。Okay, let's now meet our candidates for the mayor role. Farrah N, Christina Shea, Katherine Daigle, Huang. Here to help us with the process is Ms. Shea. Shea has been a longtime volunteer of the South Coast Chinese Cultural Association. She's been the former PTO president, and she has been the moderator for our Candidates Forum for the past several years. 有请问政会的 moderator 舒平。
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. My name is Shea. As chair introduced, I've been a longtime supporter of Irvine Chinese School. My children also went to Irvine Chinese School and graduated from there. I'm a lifetime member of SCCA. I don't live in Irvine, so I won't be biased when conducting this meeting. As chair introduced, we have a timer. So when your time is up, I will be moving on to the next speaker. And also, I will do my best to pronounce your name. If I pronounced your name incorrectly, I apologize in advance. So the order which you speak is Ms. Farrah N, Ms. Christina Shea, Ms. Katherine Daigle, or Daigle, Mr. Huang. At this time, I'd like to start first by asking each candidate their 2 minutes opening statement. Ms. Farrah, please begin.
Thank you so much to the South Coast Chinese Cultural Center for this opportunity. Ni hao, Huang Yongxing, Qintian, Sai Ju Li. I'm trying. These are some interesting times that we're living in. And we're faced with a pandemic, which has led to economic uncertainty for many of us. And we're dealing with social injustice issues that require us to listen to the voices coming from our community and take action to make our city inclusive and safe for everyone. This is a time to review where we are and what we need to do today in order to come out of this pandemic and this economic and social crisis successfully. We need leadership that is looking ahead, not looking behind. Leadership that will take initiative and lead, not wait for crowds of people to demand it. I remember many times being in those crowds, speaking up at council meetings. That's where I began my journey into public office. I'm a mother of 2 boys, now 16 and 18. I was elected to the Irvine City Council in 2018, and I'm the first Asian American woman to be elected to the council. I, along with my husband, have run our small business, a restaurant and catering company, for the past 15 years. Prior to that, I served 8 years as regulatory affairs manager for a biotech company and 4 years as the executive director for a local nonprofit. I grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area. I'm a graduate of UC Davis and moved to Irvine in 2004. Both of my kids attended Irvine Public Schools since kindergarten. One just recently graduated. I'm a legacy partner with the Irvine Public School Foundation and proudly served on the PTA as president and board member. Community building is what I do best. I'm a Rotarian, serve on the Irvine Community Emergency Response Team, and was a steering committee member for the Irvine Global Village Festival, which gives me the experience in the business sector, private sector, the nonprofit sector, and in public office. We have the opportunity.
Next speaker, please, Miss Christina Shea.
Thank you so much and good afternoon. Thank you, Farrah, for your good comments. I appreciate them. I want to thank the South Coast Chinese Cultural Center for hosting this forum today. And my goal as your mayor is to preserve and protect our wonderful master plan community. We're the safest, best financially managed, family-friendly, and one of the greenest cities in America. With the onslaught of COVID-19, our community struggles with food insecurity, reduced finances, and joblessness. The good news, Irvine has prepared for the downturn, and we are in a strong position to weather the storm. As your mayor, and with our council support, we immediately instituted eviction restrictions for our renters, rental and lease break assistance programs, including small business financial support. We created our mass giveaway program and set up the first public COVID testing site for our residents in the Great Park. And we now are hosting our drive-in movies and concerts through September. And tonight we have another concert, and please join us. My focus is to continue my efforts to preserve and protect our community. By supporting a strong public safety department, I have been endorsed by the Irvine Police Association. Maintaining an excellent educational system, we support IUSD with $11 million a year to enhance student educational funds. Also protecting our non-toxic pesticide program. We received a California EPA award this past February for my 2016 non-toxic pesticide program. I support youth sports and senior programs and oppose raising fees on youth sports. And I'm about controlling growth. I opposed expanding development at Rancho San Joaquin, protected our Woodbridge community by opposing additional apartments at Woodbridge Center and the massive medical center on Barranca. I opposed additional housing in Portola Hills and Orchard Hills this year. And I also voted against the dense apartment development at the former Travelland site. And so I will continue to protect and support our community. And thank you so much for your support.
Next speaker, Ms. Katherine Daigle.
Thank you. I moved here for their schools, our safe community, and to make sure that my daughter got a great education. She is the proudest moment in my life. She just finished her 5th term and will be starting her telemedicine clinicals the end of this month. I'm extremely proud of her, and I'm extremely proud of our schools, and I'm extremely proud of our law enforcement, which has kept this community safe. Unfortunately, we have been tasked with the pandemic. Mayors have been tasked at the front lines to battle and contain the virus with cities all across the country. There have been vast changes and challenges at the local level. Local level leaders have failed most of the cities. This city in Irvine, we have so many resources. We have our universities, UCI, we have many healthcare institutions, and they were not brought in to this city to help get testing out to the masses. They had a failed attempt at the end of May, and they're now continuing with a new company to provide testing. They tried handing out masks, and there was just lines around the building, lines around the park, trying to get a mask so the mayor can congratulate them for supporting her. So I would like to make changes in this area with our current UCI and Huang.
Next speaker, Mr. Huang, please.
Hello, 大家好, wow, so many people. 我很开心有这个机会。我是 ABC， so 我有点紧张，对不起。So I'm going to read a prepared statement that I posted on South Coast Facebook, and I'm going to jump around different languages, so apologies if you cannot follow. 大家好，这是 Louis， 我名字是黄怡成，我住在尔湾，做electrical engineering 电工，现在做construction， 学校还也做太阳能。So I did a little bit of solar and now I'm doing some schools. 我希望可以帮尔湾的residents 和尔湾小生意，我可以为尔湾的华人有声音。I hope to be a voice for Irvine residents. That's my intention. That's what I've always done. Again, I have a bio. I posted it on Facebook, and I hope everyone can go on my Facebook and my website. Everything about myself is online, and I look forward to hearing from the amazing candidates for mayor, and I also look forward to hearing questions from everyone. So 多謝大家，我講少少白話。In case anyone also speaks Cantonese. Thank you.
All right, we're now moving on to the question and answer. So the way we do the Q&A is Ms. Farrah Kong will start the first question, and then the second question will start with Christina Shea, and so on. But everyone has a chance to answer all the questions. So first question, Ms. Farrah Kong, your Q&A is 1 minute. What are the top 2 challenges facing the city of Irvine, and what is your plan to face these challenges?
Thank you. I think the top 2 issues that we're facing right now is not only the pandemic, but the economic issues that we will have to deal with as we move forward. And one of the things that we definitely want to do as we move forward on the pandemic side is to make sure that we are getting the data necessary to take the right actions. Wearing masks is one thing, but having the right type of data for our city, starting the testing program and continuing it long term will be helpful. And on the economic side, we want to make sure that we continue taking care of our residents and our businesses, especially the small businesses, as we move forward. There are grants coming in from the county and the state, but we need to do more and make sure that we're keeping in touch with both of the communities that we serve here in Irvine.
Ms. Christina Shea, please.
Yes, thank you. Nothing but havoc on our communities, not only in Irvine, across the county, across the United States, and globally. Definitely the top 2 issues for us is the financial impacts that we're facing. We just had an $18 million shortfall because of this pandemic from April, May, and June. Next year, we're going to go into another downturn, which will be about 17 million. And we really don't know what the outcome is going to be over the course of the next 2 to 3 years. But my focus is to balance our budget, be very conservative like I have always been, and making sure that we're going to rebuild our local businesses and to ensure their stability and to allow them and encourage them to come back and find creative ways to do that. I've been working with the chamber, and we will be moving a plan out very soon, like we have been doing with our open restaurants around the city, which was my idea, to make sure that we could have restaurants and people come.
All right, Ms. Katherine Daigle. Katherine, will you please help me pronounce your last name, see if we did it correctly?
You did it correctly. Daigle is fine.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. The pandemic is, as I stated earlier, it's created a great deal of havoc. We really need to get resources into the city to be able to make sure people feel safe and secure. Our children can start going back to school, and businesses can reopen. Working with government at the top levels to allow our people, small businesses and corporations go back to work is one of the most important things we can do to save our economy. and also bring in new business into these corporations that are lacking. Travel entertainment is down, and in order for us to increase our budgets and get out of the red is to increase further money coming into the city. So with that being said, the professional employment opportunities are available here in the city.
Mr. Luis Huang.
Yeah, very good question. I see it as, I think pretty much it's, at this point, it's pretty much universal. The financial impact of this pandemic and 20% essentially global recession, 20% unemployment rate. I see it as, hey, one, we need to help small businesses, you know, and two, it's got to be rental assistance, because those are the greatest needs right now. And I like what I've seen thus far from the leaders at Irvine City Hall. But there's just so much more we can do, and I can't answer that in 1 minute.
It's tough, right?
All right, you're done. All right, second question. The second question will begin with Miss Christina Shea first, and then Ms. Farrah N will be the last to answer the second question. In this election cycle, there are increased incidents of hate crimes against minorities of African Americans and Asians. What plan would you put in place to address these crimes if elected?
Well, thank you very much for that question. I'm obviously that as the mayor of the city, I am 100% in opposition to any kind of discrimination or attack on anyone in our community. The one thing I have done, and I started back in January of this year, is I reconstituted our Safe Community Task Force. And we brought on multiple principal interests that were, I think we have 9 members that were bringing in our church-based organizations, our business organizations, community members that were coming in to share any concerns they might have. And I would want to make sure that we are once again being able, once this pandemic is over, to start creating that task force and making sure that we address any racism issue, any discrimination issue, and assure the community that we're there to protect and support them.
Next, Ms. Katherine Daigle, please.
Hi. I believe there's a lot of public discontent, and the narrative is being pushed by most politicians and politics. It's unfortunate that in some of the inner cities back east and further west have created immense amount of protests, and the protests have been peaceful as they were here at City Hall. I do not believe that we should defund our police. I believe we should support our police in order to protect our citizens and residents. It is the utmost positive approach of why most families moved here, is because of the fact that it's a safe place to bring up your family. And I don't know whether that was 1, 2, or 3 bells.
That was only one.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, you're done? Okay.
I am now, because I thought I was done. Thank you.
All right, no problem. Mr. Luis Huang, please.
Yeah, so I had to translate this just to make sure. So I don't know if anyone can see that. I'm going to read it. Everyone, I hope everyone can be 勇敢和发声. What I mean is we need to all be brave, and we need to all use our voice. 我们的声音, you know, 大家都看到 on WeChat and Facebook all these instances of violence against people. We need to be 勇敢 and 用我的声音. That's the only way to counter all these negativity. We got to be brave. Everyone as a community, we have to be brave, and we have to use our voice.
Next, Ms. Farrah N.
Thank you. So I was one of the first people that actually brought forward a resolution against racism towards our Asian and Asian American communities that was passed unanimously at the City Council meeting. Not only that, but throughout this time, I worked with our local organizations, including our South Coast Chinese Cultural Center, bringing them together with other organizations to highlight their work not only in the city, but throughout Orange County, and also being the voice for the people, making sure they knew that they had someone they can reach out to if they faced a hate crime or hate incident. As far as the BLM protest movement, I made sure that we had a roundtable discussion with our Black community members and our police chief and assistant chief. We came up with some great programs that we're going to be putting in place, building those bridges, making sure that our community partnership is stronger than before, and moving our city forward with public safety.
Thank you. The next question, we will begin with Ms. Katherine Daigle. The question is, what is your position on California Proposition 16?
Prop 16, is that in regards to 209?
Yes, it's somewhat linked.
I don't think that we should change that Proposition 209. The proposition was clear as respect to the objective proposed by the amendment. And I'm just going to quote it. The state shall not discriminate against or grant preferential treatment to any individual or group on the basis of race, sex, color, ethnicity, or national origin in the operation of public employment, public education, or public contracting. It is clear that the quotas are not a solution to a problem, as the deep-rooted in racism that they're stating that there is. And I'm not sure whether this is more or less a certain Democrat narrative, but I do believe that Prop 209 is carefully legislated, and I don't think there should be any change to it.
Next, Mr. Luis Huang.
Yeah, Prop 16, 我以为我可以讲，我的家里不太喜欢，我很多的阿姨叔叔他们都不太喜欢，所以you know, I still have to study it a little bit, but I know that the Chinese community, the Chinese immigrant community, Chinese American community, 很多都不太喜欢，所以yeah, that's. Yeah, I think we got to come together as a community to make a decision on that.
Next, Mrs. Farrah N.
Thank you. This definitely is a state issue that affects us here locally. Prop 16 is coming before the voters because there's still inequity for many of our community members. However, I do feel that we have to be fair across the board. So again, you know, it's my one vote isn't going to make a difference. We'll really have to see how the state, the population votes up and down the state. I just hope that whatever comes out is fair for everyone. That's my stance.
Next, Ms. Christina Shea.
Yes, thank you so much. Actually, Katherine Daigle took away my intro. I was going to read the...
I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. But I was going to read what the state says. But the state shall not discriminate against or grant preferential treatment to any individual. And so now this proposal on Prop 16 is actually doing this, taking away the equality basis that we should be focused on. Our city is about a strong educational system, and our parents work diligently to ensure their children are doing everything they can to get in the best colleges and best universities. And by reinstituting Prop 16, we will then be going backwards rather than forwards. It should be based on the academic achievement of others in a college situation, rather based on some race or some other criteria. So I would, I oppose it.
All right, thank you. Next question. If the pandemic, question number 4, if the pandemic is a reality that needs to be faced for a long time, what preparation does Irvine needs to make? Any plans to improve financial budget we'll start with Luis Huang.
Question. Let's raise taxes on people who can afford it. I'm a tax and spend liberal. I think the rich can let's be honest. People who are rich right now and doing well right now, they can afford higher taxes. I can, personally, I can afford higher taxes. So I think most people here actually can afford higher taxes. So I'm a tax and spend liberal.
Right. Next, Ms. Farrah N.
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
All right. So the question is, if the pandemic is a reality that needs to be faced for a long time, what preparation does Irvine needs to make? Any plans to improve financial budget?
Absolutely. So, there's many options ahead of us. We are facing a budget deficit, but at the same time, we do have money in our reserves for this rainy day situation. But then we can also be creative. We can look at innovative ways to cut our costs at the city level and find more productive ways to bring in revenue without raising taxes. And so one of the things that I would like to propose is initiative that I have put forward is the Community Choice Energy Program that we're currently working on right now and hopefully implementing by December. This will definitely help us in the long run. And at the same time, working with our communities, finding new resources that we can bring into the city to really bring an impact when it comes to our cost and revenue. Again, raising taxes isn't the solution. We do have reserves that we can tap into if need be, but we have to get really innovative and creative out there.
All right, Ms. Katherine Daigle, please begin.
Thank you. I believe strongly in public-private partnerships. There are a number of large resources we have in the city, as I stated earlier, that they need our help as much as we need their help. So I do believe that we can work with these outside companies to help utilizing some of their resources, and we could tap as a government entity, a local government entity, we could tap into federal programs for economic relief. We have been slow to maneuver with these rent issues. There are programs that we can tap into to be able to get grants and services on the local level. And it is important that we put small teams together to be able to help local leaders.
Right. We will start the next question. And this question will start with
I didn't get to answer that question.
Sorry?
I didn't answer that question. If you want me to.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yes.
Oh,
Wait,
okay. So,
okay.
yeah, just to answer your question, getting our small businesses back functioning, get our employees back to work. We are a very rich employment base here in Irvine. We've had over 14,000 employees that have lost their jobs or been furloughed. So that to me is the number one thing we need to do. The second thing we need to do is look at our contracts. We have multiple contracts in the city, and we can go to our contractors and renegotiate those contracts to drop the overhead costs that we may be looking at over the long term. Also, we need to keep our staff in place, so we don't want to create any increase in salaries, but we want to maintain the staff we have because they're doing a fantastic job to keep this city maintained and operating in a way that we all expect. And then, of course, I would just suggest that I understand Councilmember Khan's comment, but to institute that right now, the CCE program is going to cost us $15 million of our reserves, and we can't do that.
All right. I apologize for skipping you.
Don't worry about it. I'll speak up. So don't.
All right. So next question, we'll begin with Ms. Farrah N. The question is, as mental health issues and homelessness continue to rise in Orange County and worsened by the pandemic, what actions will you take to address these problems?
You know, these issues have been going on for quite some time, and there hasn't been enough action taken at the county level to address them. And so what we need to do is make sure that we have that strong relationship with the county and work on these issues. But at the local level, I sit on the board of the Irvine Community Land Trust, and we're doing a fantastic job with producing more housing, not only for those that are going to be experiencing homelessness, but also for those that are, with mental disabilities, for veterans, for families that are in need right now. We're working hard to make sure that we have the amount of units that we need. In the city alone, we have over 7,000 units that are available, and we continue to build more. So we're doing our job, but we need to make sure that we are working with the county to make sure that they are doing their job as well.
All right, thank you. And next, Christina Shea, please.
Yes, of course, thank you. Okay, so the one thing I did work on with our chief of police many years ago is that we have allocated public safety dollars to ensure that we have a mental health team, and they go out to the community, go to homes where there are problems with a potential suicide or struggling families. And so that component of our public safety department has been outstanding. And it's something I'm very proud of that we brought forward and instituted. Also working with many of our nonprofits like For Families and many of the other organizations here, not only in Orange County, but in Irvine. They are very much on the forefront of dealing with this pandemic and the issues associated with it, with the mental health concerns, people just feeling just completely frustrated and afraid. And so we have been and we are continuing to coordinate with our nonprofit organizations to ensure the protection of those that are very vulnerable.
All right, next, Ms. Katherine Daigle, please.
Specific issue that I've addressed on several of my columns. Homelessness has gotten out of control, and with the pandemic now, it has taken families that were on the edge and on the brink and putting them in the streets. We as a city and we as a county, even as a state, are not doing enough at all. They are not putting together a program to get these people that are junkies or have alcohol abuse or are just simple families waiting in food lines just to get food on the tables. Children that are missing school lunches right now is also a great problem. So yes, we need to put together a small team, gather with the county, and actually go out and pick up these.
All right, next speaker, Mr. Huang.
Yes, we have so many great organizations here. I counted 15 organizations just in this Zoom alone. Also, there's also a lot of empty buildings right now. How about we kind of work with nonprofit and for-profit to create some wellness centers right here in Irvine, right? Maybe even homeless shelters here in Irvine, right? I don't know, just an idea.
All right. You're done, right? So I think we're moving on to the next question. This one, we start with Christina Shea first. What should Irvine's role be in addressing homelessness in Orange County? I think this one is similar to the other one, but it's for homeless only.
Sure. So let me share my thoughts in regard to that. The city of Irvine for many, many years, and I have been, I was one of the original authors of our land trust. And we as a city provide more affordable housing than any city in Orange County. I've created two different separate commissions, one to look out for veterans and one for developmentally disabled. And so now we provide up to 10% of all of our affordable housing for those that are really struggling and on the verge of homelessness. The good thing is Irvine does not have a major homeless population, but we have been, and I have been coordinating with the County of Orange. And when we find a homeless person in our city, we make sure that our public safety department is in contact with the county. We find an open bed for them, and we make sure that they find that security that they need. So Compared to most cities, we're doing very well in regard to having a major homeless problem, but we have been very proactive to address that issue.
Right, next, Ms. Katherine Daigle, please.
Thank you. I will follow where I led off. Homelessness is in our city. It's in Woodbridge, on bus stops, in the parks. It's everywhere, and it's not going to stop. And with the pandemic, it's never going to stop. So it is imperative that we get them off the street and get them someplace where they can be taken care of. First of all, with a drug program, I know with some of the other propositions that are out there, it doesn't allow us to do this because of their First Amendment rights. But I don't want to see families in the streets, and I don't want to see little children or women out on the streets. We haven't done enough. We need to do more. And this city is rich, and we can do it. I don't know whether that was the second or the third bell again.
It was the one, but
It was second.
Oh, a second? Oh, okay. Well, I'll go ahead and stop then. I'm sorry. I was very passionate about this subject, and I lost my train of thought.
all right, next, Mr. Louis Huang.
Yes, 尔湾很贵. Rent too much. I mean, you know, rental houses are too expensive here. How about some, you know, some additional rental assistance? You know, how about some additional? Let's talk about some renting control. Let's make it cheaper for people to rent here. Let's look into Renters' Rights Commission. I mean, there's a lot we can do. It's just, do you want it? You know, do people actually want it?
Right, next person, Ms. Farrah N.
Thank you. And as I've said before, we're doing a lot of work in this city, not only through the housing program, but through the wraparound support services. And remember, we used to have Illumination Foundation, a leader in addressing homelessness in our city. They just recently moved out of our city, but we also have Families Forward here that are constantly working on reducing homelessness and getting families into homes. What we definitely need to do in our city is continue that effort. And our police department, they have a group that is specifically focused on addressing homelessness and work with the homeless community in our city. We don't have a large population like other cities because we are taking care of it as we go along. We're addressing those needs. And so I think moving forward, looking at projects by those that are experts, like Families Forward, like Illumination Foundation, will be key in determining what we do next.
All right, thank you. We now move on to next question. This question, we start with Ms. Katherine Daigle first. Irvine is one of the fastest growing cities in America. What challenges do you see as a result of this growth? Ms. Katherine?
Hi, Farrah. Okay. Yes, Irvine is one of the fastest growing cities. I came here when my daughter was 5 years old, and there was 100,000 people here, and now we're close to 300,000 people. And with master plan communities, such as Woodbridge and where I live, everything was done meticulously. So it was, you're able to get to a store, you get to your bank, or you can walk or ride your bike to a theater, which is basically right down the street. Most of the city has expanded well past the original master plans. And with that being said, we have traffic congestion, we have problems in new areas that aren't built up enough. So we have that influx of traffic coming into the main part of the city, which does not have controls to be able to coordinate with new places for kids to go to school.
Next person, Mr. Louis Huang.
Good question. I believe, well, I'm gonna let the other candidates talk about everything, all the current issues. What I want to talk about is I will direct my planning commissioners to open up small developers, small mom and pop operations, 1 million to 10 million in expenses, to allow a small mom and pop operations to come into Irvine and just allow a little bit more opportunity for small businesses. You know, just kind of leave some for the small guys. What's that gonna mean? It's gonna mean small contractors. It's gonna be small projects, and you know, and it's gonna create a lot of jobs, and that actually will have a lot of improvements.
All right, this concludes question and answer session. We now gonna move on to a closing statement. I'd like to begin with I'm wondering, let's just stick with the same order. So Ms. Farrah N, please begin.
Thank you. So if everything was going well, I wouldn't be running today. We need a mayor who works in the community, is focused on the future, and embraces our diversity. The truth is that Irvine has been adversely impacted by a lack of vision and a tendency to put partisanship ahead of the public interest. If you look at my voting record, you'll know that I've always compromised and worked together well with my colleagues. Long before I ran for city council, I was active in the community, serving as community services commissioner and working with schools and leading local nonprofits. I'm proud to be endorsed by many of our previous community leaders, and that's important because as mayor, I will need to leverage our relationships at the local, state, and federal level to help us ensure that we are able to meet our community's needs. We can't rely on talking points of the past achievements. COVID-19 has placed us in the most challenging and uncertain position we have ever been. And now with public health, public safety, economic growth, environmental protection, transparency in government, and equity and social justice for all Irvine residents are all a high priority for me. We must grow smart and sustainable and pull together. I would be honored to have your support and look forward to continuing our strong partnership. And not only that, but please remember, we will have voting centers open October 31st, but it is recommended that you mail in your ballots as soon as possible.
Thank you. Next, Ms. Christina Shea.
Yes, thank you so much for hosting this forum today. And I want to congratulate all of the candidates that are running for mayor. It takes a lot of effort to step out in the public arena and to really address the concerns of a community. So I want to congratulate all of you. As we look to the future, we need stable, trustworthy, and experienced leadership to carry us through the next few years. As your mayor, it's been my privilege to serve this wonderful city, and I thank our public safety department for their support and thousands of residents that are supporting me as well. My promise is I will keep Irvine one of the safest cities in America, protect our financial stability. I will work to safeguard our green environment, which I've done in the past and I will continue. I will stand with our school district to maintain the best educational system in the United States. I will work to protect our seniors and youth programs without raising fees. Ensure we provide more affordable housing, which is of course very needful right now. Control growth and protect the integrity of our village neighborhoods, and support the rebuilding of our business community devastated by COVID-19. And I will also ensure our community lives together in peace and harmony, and that is my commitment. So I want to thank all of you, and I look forward to your support in November. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Ms. Katherine Daigle.
Thank you. What's important to me is preserving Irvine's brand master plan. That takes precedence over everything else. In addition to that, getting through the pandemic with our children and our families safe in our homes, where we were 6-7 months ago. Unfortunately, we still have so much bickering in city council sessions. We have a tremendous amount of discourse between the council members. They cannot agree, they will not agree, and they won't move forward as a team, as one set of people trying to serve the people. And that's really unfortunate. You need someone, I believe, that is a moderate, that is willing to take the hands of whether you're a Democrat or a Republican and move forward, because the city is 40% or close to 50% Democrat, and the other one is Republican. So in order to serve all the people, I think the team has to be a team. And I think we need to work together to solve the problems of the community as a team. It is important that we look at transparency, watch out for accountability for our taxpayers. The Great Park is stalled once again because we can't get 5 points at the table to finish what they promised to do. Transportation and our budget is way out of whack. And now we have more homeless. We need some kind of task force to help get this through. As stewards, we are responsible for preserving and protecting the resources for future generations. The conservation of our environment is necessary. Thank you.
All right, next speaker, Mr. Huang.
Last speaker. So I'm going to go back to my prepared statements again. This is listed publicly on the South Coast Facebook, and if you visit my website, I'm going to put it up there too. 最重要，我覺得我希望爾灣市長 ，right？ 爾灣嘅市長，我希望爾灣的市長是一個有啲同情心嘅人，有點同情心的人，會很願意會幫需要的人。我最希望就係佢哋可以有少少可以有人要幫啊，點解唔幫咧？You know, it's really simple as that. So you know, it's great. I'm hearing everyone today, and you know, 有人 you know 我看到我聽他們說 you know 說的有很多都是好嘅嘢，很多都是好的說的話 ，but you know just we need some more compassion. We need some more understanding. You know, there's a lot that we can be doing. That you know, there's got to be more voices for you know, everyone on here. You know, if people have opinions, please share it with. I encourage everyone to share it. Email me, email everyone, call me. You know, I'll get your message out, and you know, I'm very accessible on WeChat and my website, and everyone has my phone number. So let's do some good things for Irvine.
That concludes the closing statement. MC, please take it over.
Okay. Thank you so much, Shuping, for being the moderator. And I also want to thank all the candidates for joining us today. And we want to wish you all the best. 感谢今天所有市长候选人的介绍以及答辩，我们祝他们一切顺利。In just a few minutes, we will start the next forum for the Office of City Council. Please stay tuned for a short presentation from the Orange County Register of Voters. 那么我们将在几分钟后呢开始市议员候选人的问政会，请大家在此期间观看一个有关选举和投票的重要信息。那么如果您想知道所有的参选人的他们的 statement， 也可以在我们文化中心的网站上看到。我们的网站是 www.sccca.org， 也可以在我们的Zoom 的 chat room 里面看到这个信息。Okay, if you want to see all the statements from the candidates, they are also available on our website, which is www.sccca.org. Okay, we will see you in the next forum. Thank you again, candidates.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Candidate, you all do good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll see you later. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.